In the Inheritance cycle of books by Christopher Paolini, there are a lot of mysterious characters. Many of them have secrets, but one of them seems to have a lot more secrets than most. Today I will be trying to uncover a few of Angela the Herbalist's secrets, including what race she belongs to. Quick note before we begin, I will not be including any information from the Eragon film as I consider that to be non-canon to the book series. Now that that's settled, on to the main topic, Angela. She's a very mysterious character and usually will end up talking in riddles and not giving a straight answer to a question. Her profession is a herbalist, but she's also well known as a witch. However, I actually think that with the setting in mind, witch might not be accurate. We never actually see her use any real powers, with the exception of in Hellgrind, which I'll come back to later, and the mental strength to protect herself from Elva, a feat that no other character can do. The rest of the reasons that she's associated with being a witch are usually associated with her knowledge or her knowledge of potions. Also, her mysterious past has a lot of interesting stories that paint her out to have a lot more power than we actually see. Other than these bizarre stories, her past barely get touched. However, we do learn that she has an intriguing past. She's been to the City of the Elves, can speak the Urgal language, and has been to various dwarf cities, and is close friends with a werecat who is supposed to be hard to find. She also has a personal past with the king of the werecats, and the only species that we have no evidence of her actually being in contact with is the dragon and the greyfolk, but we do know that she's seen more than 10 dragons in a group before, and had contact with the riders as well. But if she's had contact with the riders, that makes her really old. Question is, how old? Well, she's old enough to be considered an adult by Elvish standards. Now this is significant because remember that Arya, at 100 years old, was still considered young for an elf. So she would have been considerably older than that, yet noted to look the same as Nasuada, who is about 25, somewhere around that mark. One of her abilities that tends to get overlooked quite a lot is her ability to be where interesting things are happening, even occasionally travelling great distances in a short space of time to make it to where the interesting things are happening, and she always seems to know when it's about to happen. Another point is that she does have a lot of weapons and tools at her disposal, quite often unique and out of place ones. For example, Tinkledeath, her sword. Though it's not confirmed, it seems to be made of diamond. If you look at the tinkling sound, the fact that it's got a clear blade, and the ability to cut through anything, it's a fair guess that it's a diamond sword. It's unique, unlike any other in Allegasia, and with what we know, it doesn't seem like it would be something that would be possible to make in Allegasia. So to sum up, Angela is older than she looks, talks in riddles, can travel great distances in small time, has impossible items, interacts with many significant features of different races, including those that are considered nearly impossible to find, can speak the language of the different races as well, and seems to know when interesting things are going to happen and be able to get there with ease. This is all starting to sound oddly familiar. It sounds like another franchise I can think of. That summary sounds like an almost perfect description of the Doctor. Not just the Doctor, but any Renegade Time Lord we've seen. Look at the Master and the Rani. The description matches them perfectly as well. Of course, it's all a little absurd. It's not like there's any link between the two universes other than a description similarity. Hang on a second. There's actually quite a few links. First of all, we have a direct reference to the Doctor himself from Arya. In a part in Brissinger, Arya writes 2 riddles in the dust. The first one reads, "Adrift upon the seas of time, the lonely god wanders from shore to distant shore, upholding the laws of the stars above." There is also a second one, which reads, "The trickster, the riddler, the keeper of the balance, he of the many faces who finds life in death, and fears no evil, he who walks through doors." Now in those 2 riddles there is a lot of references to the Doctor as we see him on the show. For example, the keeper of the balance, the upholding the laws of the stars, and specifically, he of the many faces who find life in death. That's very descriptive of the Doctor's regeneration. And if there's any doubt it's about the Doctor, then Christopher Paolini has actually confirmed it. Then there is Solom Buum. In Inheritance, there is a part where Eragon's trying to make him talk, and he says something along the lines of that the universe is much bigger than Eragon's dreams. He goes on to give a few examples. Some of these examples include men who age backwards, which is a very good description of people like the Doctor and the Master in River Song, where they start older and often due to regeneration end up younger afterwards. Another one is stones that speak, which could be a reference to Eldrad from the Hand of Fear from the classic series. Could also arguably be something to do with the Weeping Angels, who are able to speak through people. Another one is shadows that creep, which is clearly a reference to the Vashta Narada from Silence in the Library. And then the final one is rooms bigger on the inside than the outside. Now, if you know anything about Doctor Who, that is the clear description of the TARDIS. So, Time Lords exist, and Solom Buum has seen them. Okay, now to return to the point that I skimmed over earlier on, which was Angela's magical abilities in Helgrind. Now, what she did was that she used a spell to basically stab 20 guards in the eyes. Now, when asked for an explanation, as per usual, she doesn't give a very clear one. What she does say, though, is that she basically managed it by pausing time. She does say, what is time but motion, and what is motion but heat? So it's clearly some sort of manipulation of time. Now, one of the lesser known Time Lord abilities is that they have a somewhat ability over time itself. It's not really fully established in the show. However, what they do tend to do is they have a few examples. For example, if we go back to the classic series Invasion of the Dinosaurs, there's a specific point where somebody's trying to reverse time. Now, for people in the bubble where the Doctor was, time was frozen, yet the Doctor was still able to move, proving that he could resist the external time. Also, we can see in the much more recent 9th Doctor episode, The End of the World, where he is able to step through a very fast fan blade. Usually, these tend to manifest themselves as pinpoint timing or shaking off influences. It's never seen anywhere near as much as Angela uses it. However, it's also said that she learnt the trick from Tenga. In theory, any Time Lord could potentially do it. It's just that they would need to be trained, they would need to know how to, which Tenga did for her. Also of note is that Angela the character is actually based off of Christopher Paolini's sister, Angela. Now, bearing in mind that he's got that much respect to put Angela in his book, that much respect to put the Doctor in his book, surely he would make the character of Angela so special. And I think that for him, making her Time Lord would be a very good way of doing that. Now, my final piece of evidence comes from very near the end of the last book of the series, Inheritance. When Eragon is going to say goodbye to Angela, we see her knitting a hat, a blue hat, note that, and when he asks what the runes on the hat say, she says, Raxacora, oh, never mind, it wouldn't mean anything to you anyway. That's very correct, it wouldn't mean anything to Eragon, because what she was saying was Raxacora Cofalatorius, which is the planet of the Slitheen. It's another planet which she would only know about if she had been there or if she had heard about it from a space-time traveller. So that's why I believe that Angela is a Time Lord. There's many reasons that back it up, there's just so many coincidences, and ultimately I think that the fact that Christopher Paolini loves Doctor Who so much that he puts a reference in 2 of his books, and he loves his sister so much, I genuinely believe that she is supposed to be a Time Lord. Of course, that's just my opinion. Tell me what you think down in the comments below. Do you agree that she's a Time Lord, or do you think there's another explanation? I'd love to hear alternate takes on this. If you've enjoyed this video, please have a look at my channel, where I've got lots more videos that you may enjoy. And if you do enjoy, please feel free to leave a subscribe so that you can get the latest content when it comes out. I update regularly. And as Eragon would say, may your swords stay sharp.